Hello everybody, welcome back to EFC 25. For this video we're going to be doing two things, major things. First of all, we're going to do the daily SBC content. So we're going to do the 8510 and then we're going to do the new 95 plus 1 of 5 shapeshifter road to the final FUTTIES team 1 and 2 player pick. Afterwards, we're going to discuss a little bit about the FC26 gameplay reveal trailer, which I'm pretty sure most of you already seen from other content creators such as Nick, such as Inception. Ozio made a video on it, Nepenthes, all these other FC channels already created a lot of this stuff. That being said, oh, Thunderstruck, Hullet, no way. If I get Hullet, by the way, it's a duplicate because I packed Hullet earlier this year, so it's gonna be awkward. Let's see who it is though. We get Churky, and then the Thunderstruck is going to be, of course, it's Hullet. Of course, it had to be Hullet. Oh man, that's actually kind of crazy. I already have him duplicate. Oh, Sebio! How much is he? How much is he? He's 90k. Oh my lord, and that's his min price too, so he could technically be lower. But man, Eusebio and Hullet, that's some icon luck right there. That being said, though, Eusebio still that kind of like rare card, but man, I've heard from so many people that this card's just not good. He has base Tiki Taka. He has finesse shot. I mean, the only thing I can really wait for is just to get his like his duplicate is to get his other card, his shapeshifter. But Hullet is already pretty low in price. I mean, it's understandable. This late game, Hullet is not really worth much anymore unless you put him into some evos. But aside from that, pretty good start already. Here we get a Winter Wild card. Okay, who is it? The left back. My guess is Karchawi or Bacha. I'm gonna say it's Bacha. Yeah, I think it's Bacha. And then the Winter Wild card, it's going to be Vincent Kompany as a hero. Is there anything in the back though? So I'm good at FUTTIES icons. No, unfortunately not. But yeah, like I said, I'm sure you've seen a lot of the FC26 gameplay dive, but I think what I'm going to do is just going to generalize my thoughts because I already went through pretty much most of it. Oh, hold on. There's a FUTTIES here. Hang on. Let me stop yapping for a sec because this is worth looking into. Are we going to get Bacha again? If we're getting Bacha again, then wowee. Tells you just how crazy this is. But who is it though? Who is it though? Kanu again. All right, great. Well, Kanu's going to be here every single time. He's pretty much like the most common 97 you can pack out of these. Aside from that though, full for birthdays, nothing really crazy. But yeah, I'm just gonna have my general thoughts on the FC26 gameplay trailer, just like similar to what I did for the my thoughts on the FC26 reveal trailer. I'm also gonna go kind of like general. I'm gonna kind of generalize a little bit as to what's the whole deal with that. But I'll get to it when I get to it. But for now, let me craft this player pick. Alrighty guys, we have crafted the 95 plus 1 of 5 shapeshifter road to the final winners or FUTTIES team 1 or 2, and we're gonna see if we pack somebody really good. Now here we go. This could be massive. We don't know what to expect from these, but let's just hope they're really good. First one, what do we got? Isak 97. Okay, second one, Arda Güler, so already 2 97s. That's kind of impressive. Can we make it a third 97? A really good one? No, we get Biandolo. Fourth one. Ooh, Scott McTominay. All right. I actually wanted this card for a long time. And I guess we got him. So well, I'll definitely take him if there's no better option. Yep. Oop, hold on. Okay, almost made a mistake there. Oh, God. I was scared for my life. I know McTominay might be cheap. He's probably like, yeah, 200k or so. Fairly decently priced. This is a card that I really wanted to try out. I'm more than willing to give it a shot. Okay. Alrighty, guys. So for this one, I'm gonna start discussing a little bit about the FC20. Wait, this is FC25. What am I doing here? This is not the proper FC. Hold on, I'm in the wrong place. Let me see. FC EA Sports. Let me take a look here. I'm looking for the pitch notes. Where are you? There we go. Overhauled. Yeah, community feedback. Let's learn more. Here we go. We're into the new one now. What the heck? Learn more. Where's the pitch notes? There we are. Okay, here we are. EA FC26 pitch notes. Now, again, I'm sure a lot of you have already heard from like different YouTubers about their thoughts on the game and stuff like that, and specifically this one. But I'm just gonna point out specifically which ones do I believe are probably the most significant like ones in general, right? So we can go ahead and take a look at the table of contents, and we'll probably make our way there. Dribbling and movement, we already know it's going to be like fluid supposedly, so you know there's going to be all that stuff. They do have like simplified skill moves. They have all these like fluid movements, stuff like that. All right, first big one, goalkeepers. Now goalkeepers, here's the thing, I don't necessarily have a problem if goalkeepers are easy to score on, especially on one-on-one situations. The biggest issue for the goalkeepers in FC25 specifically was definitely the rebound goals, which was the most the most irritating thing that has ever graced this earth. And listen, I know it happens in real sports. I mean, literally, it happened today in the Euro. It literally happened, I think, in the Euro pretty much today. Well, I guess that's kind of more specific. Chloe Kelly in the semifinal between England and Italy. Chloe Kelly shot a penalty, got blocked, and she got the rebound and scored it in. I mean, now, is that unlucky? Yeah, of course it's unlucky. That being said, though, it's part of the game, and I understand that. It should not be a consistent thing in a video game. A video game has... So, okay, let me kind of like specify a little bit what I'm trying to say, right? The video game version of this, of a game, of a sport, should encompass visually what it will look like, the best visuals and stuff like that, right? But the core gameplay has to be shifted so that, if the game itself should not reflect the real life, because if that was the case, I'm pretty sure it would be the most boring game ever. And trust me, FC25 pretty much provided that, and it got literally like mind-numbing, because it's just so much like, boringness, so much like, repetitiveness. There's no creativity, there's no fun in a game like FC25. So FC26 is adding different stuff. Now the goalkeepers, for example, right? The goalkeeper, like deflections and stuff like that, that's good. I like that a lot. I like how they done the the whole FC26 deflection goals here, like you'll see right here. Yeah, this is what it would be in 25, and then in 26 it would just parry it out into the corner, which is fine. That's perfectly fine. This one as well, you see the perfect example here where he shoots it, blocks it. Oh, there's one right there. Oh, blocks it again. Oh, right back to the scorer. But now in 26, it would just be parried first time. Not even gonna bother with the second or third rebound. We're just gonna get rid of it immediately. So that's good. That's really good. That being said, though, the one-on-one, it's a bit of a mixed bag for a lot of people, because people have been pointing out that right here in one-on-one situations, the goalkeepers are pretty much buffed. Now, there is a thing to note here, that the shot here that was taken is a straight shot right here, a straight power shot, which ideally, if you're in a one-on-one situation, you probably wouldn't do that kind of shot anyways. That being said, the goalkeeper did fall for it pretty easily, and he just let that go. But you'll see here in the comparison that they've done the comparison where they do that same type of power shot, and in FC26, the goalkeeper was smarter enough to dive into the proper direction, being able to read that properly. Now, of course, in those situations, the one-on-ones, you'll still have to rely whether you need to use a finesse shot, whether you want to try to attempt a chip shot, if it's even like something that you'd even risk at that close range, or even just like a low driven in between the legs. That could be a possibility, But regardless, in that situation, I think we're gonna have to see more one-on-ones in the future. We have to see more of them just to kind of get an idea as to whether or not the goalkeepers are going to be super buffed, and it will determine if that's like too unfair or whatever. Acceleration types, I'm glad they're going back to the 3. I wasn't really a big fan of the whole controlled lengthy, mostly lengthy, kind of lengthy, I don't know, girthy, whatever. Let's see what defending. All right, defending has been the biggest problem in FC thus far, and it's probably been a problem for the past couple of years already at this point, with AI defending pretty much dominating the sphere. Now we're entering the realm again of manual defending. Now, keep in mind, I'm not the best FC player, and you might think that's like weird coming from me, because you know there's times that I finished in Division 2 or in Division 1, which I know it's like, wow, it sounds pretty high up there. I think I made it to Elite Division once, and that's about as much as I managed to do here in FC. But to put that into context, I think a lot of players are with the way FC25 was built. I think you're almost, you know, regardless of talent level, I think you were expected to make it to that division, because there's so many factors that go into, you know, like the gameplay, you know, so much unfairness, so much like, you know, reliance on luck and stuff like that. Some people are just end up lucky enough to even end up in Division 2 or Division 1, myself included. Now, with that being said, most of that falls into the defending, because a lot of times when you try to go for a defensive tackle, the ball just ends up pretty much being stuck there for a couple of seconds before eventually it'll fall into the offensive player again, because essentially you both get put into a stun lock, and I guess the defensive player for some reason ends up reacting faster. Now, thankfully for FC26, they've added a feature in which when you make the tackle, the opposing player who you tackled it from will do an animation of them stumbling on, you know, on that tackle. So essentially, you take the ball away from them, and they will stumble, effectively taking away the ball successfully, and they won't be able to recover that ball. Realistically, that's how it should work. And in fact, I'm pretty sure there are plenty of situations where you will take away the ball in real life, and the player will be like discombobulated. They'll be like, whoa, whoa, whoa. But then by that point, when they react, they're already gone. They already made the pass, or they already made the run. So essentially, that's what I'm pretty much like. That's what they're pretty much doing with this. And they're really improving on defensive, not having to rely too much on AI, and good. Like the tackle spam, this tackle spam is good, and it's good for me as well, because I had to spam tackle a lot. And you know, that's an admission that I'm pretty sure a lot of people wouldn't make, but it's something that I kind of have to admit, because it is something that I have to improve on. The tackle spamming is something that I wish I didn't have to do it, but sometimes it was just necessary. But it's something that I feel like now with this new improved tackling system, now I think that, you know, if I time the tackle right, I'll be rewarded for it. It's the proper timing, it's the proper, you know, use of it. Whereas in tackle spamming, I'll just tackle, I have to go back and then tackle, and then it won't work anyways, and then I have to try to tackle again and do all this. Like it's no consistency. So it's good that they're addressing that as of this moment, which I do enjoy. Tackle personality, I am kind of like weirded out about this. So if you have a low stand tackle below a 71, you can perform basic, and then a medium tackle from 71 to 84, you can perform like some stand animations, and then on the higher ones, you can pretty much perform all of them. So it's a very interesting one. Passing and shooting. Now this one's another big one. Passing, we already been to the whole spiel of like, oh yeah, it's gonna be faster, quicker passes, faster animations. That's fine, right? I think the bigger one is gonna be in the shooting. Shooting specifically is where it got a big, like a little bit of an overhaul, specifically about low driven. So low driven now has been added to be the double tap on the circle, and what that effectively does is that it literally removes time to finishing. And I never use time finishing. It's not something that I want to do. It's not something it's something I could have done, but it's something I chose not to. And I feel like timing shots is just something that I feel like it's a waste for me, especially since my internet's kind of crappy and this and that, you know. It's something that I personally don't enjoy doing. I'd rather just shoot the ball, and if it goes in, it goes in. If it's not, then it's not. But it's mostly going to be up to the game to decide that. Now with this, that means that precision shooting is going to be the main shooting style, the main shooting animations that are going to be used for every shot, which is fine. I don't have an issue with that. Now the low driven stuff is very interesting, because now you can actually like make low driven finesses, low driven trivelas, low driven lay shots, stuff like that. So there's a lot of stuff that you can do with driven, with the driven shot, with the low driven shots, which is fine. I do enjoy that. And I've seen plenty of like gameplay footage, or at least like, kind of like replay footage of them using like the first time shot on a low driven, which looks insane. And if that's the case, then wow, we're in for some good shooting, I guess. That being said, yeah, time finishing didn't add meaningful skill depth. That's fair. Whoops. Precision shooting, where timing, aim, power control, shot deflector. Yeah, that will give you the more skill gap and stuff like that. Trivelas have been actually like pretty much almost deleted from the game. They've just been they're just behind a playstyle wall. You need to have Game Changer on in order to use a Trivela. If your player does not have Trivela or a Game Changer, then you won't be able to use Trivela. That's as simple as that. And now that we're kind of into that whole thing, oh yeah, in attacking positioning and stuff like that, roles and stuff like that are now like being used properly. So like wingers, for example, can cut into the box if the opportunity arises, where, you know, obviously they'll be weighed out wide. That was a big issue with roles, that there was only really one role that was effective, and that was the inside forward plus. Now I think they've actually like made it so that, you know, even if you had like, you know, roles and stuff like that, it won't effectively like damage the player. It would just improve on it, which I think that was the original idea, but they just scuffed it so hard that, you know, it felt like players were useless without the roles. And if you did have the role plus or role plus, then that was a necessity. Again, it's the whole conversation about the whole necessity versus, you know, a want versus a need. And EA did not understand that for FC25, where playstyles wasn't a want, it was a need. Roles wasn't a want, it was a need. You know, shapeshift, you know, like icons like Ronaldo, like R9, you know, Ronaldinho, Cruyff, Maldini, all these ones. They were not a need. They were not a want. They were a need. You needed those players in order for you to fully enjoy these type of games. So at the beginning of the year, if you had like players like, you know, like Danjuma, you had players like Werner, you had players like all these, right? Some of them will not have the playstyle, some of them will not have the roles, and because of that, it caused a huge problem where like they've just effectively become useless. And that's something that they actually address here, which I'll get into a little bit when I get to playstyles and roles. But for now, let me just kind of scroll over here and take a look more into some of the other like changes that they made. Let me go to the very top and see the one that catches my eye. So let me see here. Obviously, you know, like responsiveness or whatever, that's fine. Competitive gameplay, we already kind of looked into that. Online general and all that stuff. Accessibility, playstyles, FCIQ, rush, skill moves. They added some skill moves and stuff like that. Oh yeah, the accessibility, they added the new high contrast mode, and you can actually remove shadows and stuff like that from stadiums. Awesome, good. The amount of times I played in that one stadium where it's like literally half shadow, half light, and then it kind of like does that glare effect when you cross the line, because that's how light works. It's irritating. It's really bad. In any case, though, let's actually talk about the playstyle. So here's what they actually ended up doing. Our goal is to make high rated players play akin to the real life ability, making attributes more impactful and playstyles feel like an addition, not a requirement. Exactly what I was saying. It's not supposed to be a requirement to have these playstyle pluses or playstyle bases. That was the entire problem with playstyles in the first place. So, you know, the attributes, they're rebalanced to attribute systems where to make players with higher base attributes execute standard gameplay mechanics more reliably, even without the relevant playstyle. So for example, if you had like say you had Kevin De Bruyne, right? Base Kevin De Bruyne, right? Now I know he may not have like the strongest pace and stuff like that, but obviously he's gonna have high passing, right? Now say if Kevin De Bruyne does not have Tiki Taka, right? Effectively with FC26, he'll be able to make a pass like if he had Tiki Taka to begin with. Now, of course, if he had Tiki Taka or Tiki Taka Plus, the effectiveness of the playstyle will actually increase, whether it be more speed, more accuracy, less error, then that'll be one thing, right? But I think in general, if you're looking at like, you know, just the card itself, then it definitely won't have that problem anymore, because Kevin De Bruyne now will make proper passes because of his actual passing attributes. Short passing, long passing, vision, stuff like that, right? And so because of that, it's good. So because of that, it's been done really well here, and it looks like they're balancing it out to make it good. Now, removed playstyle. We have removed the following playstyles and reworked our mechanics to the new ones above. So they remove some playstyles alongside adding the new ones, which the new ones are the Enforcer, which, you know, obviously is for off the ball, on ball shielding, Aerial Fortress, a defensive aerial like prowess, like getting out of the way. Precision Header is pretty much power header, but just with more the accuracy more than the power. Game Changer, which is what you need to activate Trivela to begin with, and then Inventive, which is just like flare passing basically. So what they removed was power header, aerial, Trivela, and flare. Those are the ones that they removed completely from the game now, and instead they added pretty much 5. They pretty much replaced those ones, and then just added which one's the one that Enforcer. Enforcer is probably the more unique one out of all those ones. So that's pretty much in it. Defensive player who dominates area battles in the defensive scenarios. This reconfigures, okay, playstyle. Even higher jumps and has greatly improved physical defensive presence before and during aerial duels. So that's pretty effective. That's going to be very effective towards like maybe very tall players. Like if they were like 6'3", 6'4". Now, of course, if you had these like on like maybe a 6'0" type of like player, like center back, then maybe having the playstyle plus would make them more competitive against those taller players, but we can't really be too sure. Precision Header, that's going to be mostly for offensive players and stuff like that, of course. Will be kind of surprised if some center backs have these as well, so it will be definitely interesting. There's Inventive, which pretty much does fancy Trivela passes, mostly for passing, and Game Changer is the one for shooting basically. Enforcer is the one that does like shielding and initiating contact while dribbling. That's pretty much almost like a different version of the Bruiser Plus basically. So you'll see an example of Enforcer playstyle plus. Yeah, you'll see right here. Yep, that's where you can take away that ball. Okay, this is with Enforcer. Yep. Okay, so that this one's with no Enforcer. They will take away the ball because you don't have the Enforcer or anything like that. Now this is with Enforcer Plus. You pretty much push him out of the way, which is insane to me. Look at that push. Oof, man. Wowee, that push is insane. And that push creates a lot of space for you to create passes and stuff like that. And of course, I'm pretty sure it's going to be based on also like, you know, kind of like physical stats and stuff like that. Because obviously, if you put an Enforcer on a 66 strength guy versus a 99 strength center back or defensive midfielder or something like that, I'm pretty sure it's not going to have the same result. But that being said, for the ones who want to have that edge during that fight in between like the 50-50s, then the Enforcer Plus is pretty much the difference maker. So I can see why that's the case. There's the new flexible roles, so you know they make specific roles less rigid. Added more focuses to existing roles based on feedback. Improved usage of regular roles and Role Plus to bring in closer to Roles Plus. Yep. Yeah, players are less constrained by their roles. If the opportunity presents itself, they can go beyond it or contribute to the play in more ways. That's good. So now we don't have to like basically, yeah, like if Phil Foden was running on that wing and he has the Winger Plus, he can start using. What in the world? People are still using fireworks nowadays, man. Jesus. So yeah, if Phil Foden was running the wing and he has the Winger Plus, then of course he should be able to make other plays beyond just being the winger out there. He could actually like go in if he finds the opportunity. He can move basically. Now again, I still maintain that roles in general should not be included at all. If anything, they should scrap the idea. But this is the second year. They're not going to do something as drastic as removing some of that stuff anyway, so I'm not going to hold my breath on that. But besides that, the fact that they're becoming less constricted because of whatever role they're using, it's perfectly good. That's fine. That being said, I still hope that even if you do not have a role plus, they still function a little bit good. They don't get super limited. Of course, if they have the plus, then they'll move crazy, right? But of course, let's just hope that that is the case, right? Okay, now here's something that I think I'm gonna look into. I'm not gonna go into the whole entire like roles or whatever. I'm not gonna go into the entire thing. I know there's plenty of roles and stuff like that or whatever the heck for tactics. I'm not gonna get into that too much. However, I want to discuss one thing about FC26 that I think is going to be very important to discuss. So let me go ahead and get to that real quick. Now, AsiFoot made this made this tweet here saying that EA confirmed that they are slowing down the power curve in FC26, including less promos, less store packs, less paid evos. FC25 had a lot of promo teams. That was the hugest issue that I've always had with this year. This year had so many promos that it was almost hard to keep up. Now, let's go ahead and discuss this a little bit, because I think people got sick of the promos that got released this year. There were a lot of promos. Let's not get that twisted. And I think because of that, we kind of got into that situation of like, okay, they've released so many promos, there's so many cards, and because of that, the power curve ended up increasing because they needed to constantly make more insane players to kind of keep that steady flow of gap, right? And I think for FC25, the biggest culprit as to why I think this game ended up going the way it did is this right here, the Ballon d'Or one, right? The Ballon d'Or promo was probably the starting point as to why I think the power curve became almost a necessity at that point, at least for the current. Jesus, man, stop blowing up fireworks, my lord. Anyways, here's the thing, right? Here's what I was gonna get to saying. The Ballon d'Or promo that happened that time was literally a desperation move by EA, and there's no way you can convince me otherwise. Because when this promo dropped, people were giving out timed loans with literally like strong players, and I think I still have mines here in my account. Let me go ahead and go to my club and look at my loans and see who I even have right now in loans. Yeah, I still got them right here. So let me go ahead and let's see here. Let me put Ballon d'Or. Should have both. Yep, here we are. So let me show you real quick what I have right here. So we have Aitana Bonmati and Kylian Mbappe Ballon d'Or, right? Now these cards, when they released, they were insanely looking. They were obviously crazy looking. It was during November of 2024. That's when they expired. And, you know, for what it's worth, yeah, of course, these were crazy cards to have back then. The craziest part is that they didn't feel that way because the gameplay was so ass that it was the same problem. Kylian Mbappe did not have the proper playstyles for passing in there. He had a shooting playstyle. His best playstyle was quick step and rapid, and that's about it. Aside from that, almost not a lot of scoring playstyle pluses. No first touch, no technical, no press proven, you know, and because of that, because of how FC25 was like made at that point, how it was structured, Kylian Mbappe was not as good, and people were complaining about that too. People did not enjoy these cards as much as they should because the same problems arose. Now for Bonmati, she has all the playstyle plus the passing playstyles, and she has technical plus, but no rapid, no quick step, no press proven, and you know, in some cases obviously she's not gonna have low driven because it didn't exist at the time. She did have finesse shot, but for defensively she could have at least had like intercept. She could have had the quick step, you know, some of these other ones, right? Hell, even like Trickster at the time was pretty good, would have been really good for Bonmati, but because of the way it was structured, and as a matter of fact, let me take a look at roles. If she had Shadow Striker plus, she would be awesome. But because it's on Playmaker, it's not worth it. For Mbappe, Advanced Forward plus was the standard plus role that you can get for that. But if you put him on the left wing, he only has Inside Forward plus, not plus. So not as effective. So these cards, what they ended up doing is showing us that even with these kind of cards, you would still not be able to do as well because of the way the game was structured. And because of that, they ended up pushing the power curve over and over again because they had to find some way to try to like keep up with the demand of like better players, which instead ended up pushing the power curve. And I think it's also just, you know, as a result of weekly promos just being a thing for some reason. One week it'd be the Road to the Knockouts, the next week Total Rush, next week Trailblazers, next week Centurions, then we had the Ballon d'Or, then Track Stars, you know, and then, you know, Thunderstruck, and then Ultimate Succession. Every week there was a new team, right? Winter Wildcards, Team 1 and Team 2. Numero Foot, Team 1. Team of the Year, women's and men's. Team of the Year honorable mentions followed after. Future Stars. I think there was 2 teams, you know? And yeah, they had a lot of promos this year. And I'm just like, okay, man. At this point, by the time we arrived at Team of the Seasons, majority of these Team of the Seasons were worthless. I don't even meme that. That's literally the whole like problem. If it wasn't a Messi, if it wasn't Ronaldo, if it wasn't, you know, at the very least Retegi, if it wasn't at the very least, you know, McTominay and stuff like that, right? Then every single Team of the Season, regardless of rating, whether it be a 95 or a 96, were effectively worthless. And you saw that during like Ultimate Team of the Season, where like, you know, a 96, you know, Evander and stuff like that from like the MLS, while he has good stats, because of the way the gameplay is set, he effectively became worthless. So there was really no point. Then they released the UEL winners, they released the Road to the Final one cards, and they were amazing. And then Shapeshifters came around and it became sucky again, because there were so many 94s, so many 95s at this point. Like 94s, 95s, 96s were useless. They sucked. So you really had to get like a 97 or a 98 out of the Shapeshifters to make it worth it. And then Nations winners, Path to Glories had to drive it down a little bit for upgrade potential. And then finally we're here with Footies and Greats of the Game and stuff like that, right? And it is a lot. It is a lot, to be honest. So the fact that they're gonna slow down the pace of the promos, and that also is good for this type of game, you know? It's perfect. Less promos equals less power curve, like increase, like substantial increase. And of course, less incentive to go to stores, getting packs from gameplay, which if it is improved, that is a big dub. And of course, less paid evos, which I'll get into evos later. I probably won't get into them in this video. I'll probably get more into them when we actually go into the Ultimate Team deep dive. However, I will say that because of that, evolutions are going to become more valuable, because evos are also part of the reason why the power curve ended up dying, because at this point, evos that you've made are not worth it anymore, and at the time that you would be worth it, or at least a evo that would be worth it, will cost like 500k, and that's a lot. That's a lot, you know? So all I'm saying is there's going to be a lot of discussion about that, but for now, this is all we got. That being said, though, I've yapped for so long already. At this point, I already lost track of time, but that's pretty much where I'm going to end it here. So with that being said, guys, let me know what you guys think of the gameplay deep dive. Are you guys impressed with the gameplay? Are you guys looking forward to this game? Let me know in the comment section below, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. See ya.